Exercise and diet changes how you think. It changes how you view the world. Do you want to walk around feeling worse and having a more negative filter on the world? Do you want to have less inspirational ideas? Do you want to be able to innovate less? Do you want to have less patience, less empathy, less understanding? That's harder today, not later.
What's going on, friends? Welcome back to another episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. I am so pumped about this episode that is dropping right now because I just had the pleasure of interviewing someone I look up to a lot and someone so many of you look up to a lot. I just got done interviewing Sal Di Stefano. It is Sal from Mind Pump. So Mind Pump is one of the most popular podcast shows in the fitness, weight loss, and transformation space. But Sal himself, I just finished this big long interview with him. Sal is, it's funny, he's labeled as the wisest man in the fitness industry. Sal is a wealth of knowledge. And the way that he puts it is the only right way and the only ethical way to go about teaching this information is from the deeper side, going deep with how to make long lasting change. And I couldn't say it any better myself. So I'm so pumped to get on and talk with you or to share with you the interview I did with him. You got a lot out of this episode. You're gonna learn so much about how to do the deep work and cause long-term sustainable change, how to really enjoy the process, because if you are incapable on enjoying the process, you will never get to where you want to be. It's just not going to happen because you just blatantly won't make it. But the question is, how do we do that? How does someone who hates the process learn to enjoy the process and become the kind of human who loves taking care of themselves the right way, where you can live your happy, balanced life, where you're not deprived, where you still love the way you look, you're getting healthy, and you love the way you feel. So we got really, really deep in this one and talked about all sorts of stuff along these lines. So if you're struggling with how to enjoy the process, if you're struggling with keeping habits that are sustainable and losing weight the right way and having an amazing foundation of an inner game and being able to love yourself and work on yourself at the same time, if these are things you struggle with, you'll want to stick around for the whole episode. So now, before we get into all of that, massive thank you to the sponsors of the show. Sponsor number one is First Form. Switched it up on you today. So First Form, I'm wearing one of their shirts as always. In the world of supplements, guys, you know, supplements aren't everything, but when it's the appropriate time to take them, they can make a huge difference. So supplements are not the end all be all. Supplements are one of those things that they're only meant to fill gaps you are not getting with food. So with that being said, if you're not getting things like enough protein, like omegas, like the micronutrients that you aren't, if you're not getting those from real food, this is where supplements can come in and be very, very helpful. So, but they are not the end all be all. They are not your saving grace if you're not making progress. They are there to fill the gaps that food is not filling. So with that being said, if you are interested in taking them, filling some of those gaps, or not sure if what you're taking is the best, definitely go hit the link below. Check out First Form's website. Check out what they got going on there. If you're looking to upgrade your supplements, or if you're looking to just take higher quality things that you know are safe, know are effective, know are accurately dosed, actually tested in third-party ways that isn't required, but that's what First Form does. Definitely go check that out. And if you don't know where to get started with supplements, I'll leave my YouTube video down there below about kind of what I take, what most of our clients take, and where to get started with that. Then we have sponsor number two, which is Flex Pro meals. Now, Flex Pro is always coming in clutch for me because my schedule is so crazy, so unpredictable, and so all over the place. And I do this really weird thing and I forget to eat a lot. It's annoying, but basically, I know how it is to have life all over the place. Like I'm sure a lot of you listening are always on the run, or always in the car, going through drive-thrus, taking kids to soccer practice, dance lessons, or dance practice, and all the different things. And sometimes it's just more convenient to hit a drive-thru or stop in a gas station, so on and so forth. But the problem is doing that very often and very consistently will, number one, rack up a insane bill. Like you're going to spend the most amount of money that way. Number two, you're going to have a harder time getting to your goals. If you're in a drive-through 3-4 times a week, it's going to be really hard to keep your calories restrained. It's going to be hard to keep them in check without, and be satiated and be satisfied and things like that. So Flex Pro is one of those things that makes it so easy to just have these foods and these meals in your fridge on deck for when you need them, because they taste amazing. They're made by a chef. They're shipped right to your front door, and they are dialed in when it comes to your macros, like your protein, and your calories. And then they are adding new meals like every month to their website. And on top of it, it's going to be cheaper and save you more money than going through fast food. So it's quite literally a win-win-win all the way around. So definitely go check them out, flexpromeals.com, or hit the link in my description. But if you also use my code Hamilton Trained, it'll save you an additional 20% at checkout. So it's really a no-brainer. Now, I will shut up now and I will get onto the interview with Sal. I know you're going to get a lot of value out of this. I'll talk soon. That's cool, man. But like I said, I really appreciate you doing this and stuff. So this is super cool.
Yeah, of course.
So for you, how does it feel to be labeled the wisest man in the fitness industry?
I think that's hilarious. That's not a high bar. So I guess it's okay.
That's funny, dude. That's funny. That's super cool. And the reason I wanted to get you on and talk is because, and we're already recording, by the way. The reason I wanted to get you on is just because of how deep you go with things. Like my show is called Dieting from the Inside Out, and where we just go a lot deeper with like habitual stuff and the headspace and how to create really permanent results. Just because I hate how surface level so much of the information and advice and tactics are. So for you, that's my big thing, is why I really wanted to get you on, is just how deep you guys go with things and how to actually change and whatnot. So
yeah, I think that's the only way anyway. If you're looking for, which I think, people who get into exercise and trying to change their diets and improve themselves through health and fitness, they're all interested in permanent results. I don't think anybody thinks to themselves, I want to do something on a temporary basis. And the only way to make it permanent is to kind of go deep. It's really not a surfacey, endeavor. It seems that way on the outside. I think people have a fundamental misunderstanding of, what it really looks like to do this forever. But it's not. It's actually quite deep. It's a personal growth vehicle. It's a path that requires lots of change in fundamental aspects of your life, how you view things, how you think about things, how you think about yourself. And it's a never-ending journey. That's another big fundamental misunderstanding. Is I think people look at it as a destination. So like lose 20 pounds or, look good for this trip or whatever, but it doesn't work that way. It's like an ongoing forever thing. And so I like to communicate it very honestly, because I know firsthand that increases the odds significantly of long-term forever success. But it is easy to, and I guess it's alluring to sell it as not this deep, forever journey if I'm selling a product or a supplement or whatever, because that's a hard way to sell something, right?
Sure.
So it's easier to tell somebody, just take these steps and then you're there and that's it. But the conversation needs to change, because what we've been doing has been failing miserably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Where do you think most people, like from a deeper level, like their fundamental bottleneck is? Because at the end of the day, we know eat less calories than what you take in, strength train, like the very surface level stuff. But from a deeper aspect of creating change that doesn't go away, where we can sustainably have the result that we want, where do you think from your perspective, people's bottleneck is, or where they go wrong from a deeper, more fundamental level?
Boy, that's a complicated.
It's a loaded one.
Yeah, that's a complicated question. There's a few things we could talk about that I think are the big issues. One is most people will think of a result that they're looking for. Call it a goal, right? So I want to lose X amount of pounds, or I want to sculpt my body, or I want to look this particular way. And then they think to themselves, well, I can withstand or tolerate all the hard changes, all the crappy, the workouts and the, saying no to certain types of foods and getting up, at a particular time and going to bed at a particular time. I can withstand all of that so I can get this particular result that I'm looking for. So that's kind of how they view it, without realizing that fully. I don't think people fully realize that whatever they do to get to that result, if they do indeed accomplish it, which most people don't, but let's say they do, is what they'll have to do for the rest of their lives. Okay. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, for 3 months, I could follow this super restrictive diet. And yeah, for 3 months, I could work out 4 days a week, and then I'll get that result that I'm looking for. I can do that for 3 months. Well, you ask them, can you do that forever?
Right.
Is this something you can do for the rest of your life? And then the conversation changes a little bit. So there needs to be an acceptance and an understanding that my physical body, my mental well-being, my health, my wellness, a very large part. In fact, this is the only part you should pay attention to because it's the only one you really have influence over. A large part of it is my lifestyle. It's a reflection of how I live. Now, I said that's the only thing you should focus on because, of course, there's things like genetics and circumstances that are uncontrollable, but it doesn't matter because why should we focus on things we can't control? If we can't control them, it makes no sense anyway, right? So how I look, how I feel, my health, my wellness is largely a reflection of my lifestyle. So I have to change my lifestyle in order to have that reflection change or that result change. And the word life is in lifestyle. So this has to be done forever. Also, understand and accept that the process, which if you make it to the point where you can accept like, okay, this will be forever, it's going to be a forever thing, then you also have to accept that the process will change anyway, always. It has to. It's necessary. Why? You get older. Life circumstances change. Sometimes you have more stress at work. Sometimes your family needs more from you. Sometimes you're sick. Something may happen. So it's literally this journey, this path, and you can understand the important components of this journey, but it's impossible to know exactly, specifically what that journey is going to look like. So you have to accept the fact that it's going to change and mold, and it's a exercise and nutrition and lifestyle and like things like sleep and stress and even spiritual practice, which you throw in there, which is backed by endless studies. That those things are all tools, and they all contribute to your quality of life, your health, and your wellness. And you have to be very open and accept that they'll change sometimes, and they're going to have to.
Yeah.
And this is forever. So once you make that understanding, okay, and you have to really accept it. It's not like yeah, I get that, but I'm just worried about the next 3 months, and then I'll figure that out. This is what happens a lot of times, right? I'll figure it out. Once I get there, I'll just figure it out. Okay. That's like saying, once I find somebody and we get married, I'll figure out, the rest of it afterwards. It's like, oh, you're setting yourself for failure if you don't accept the fact that this is going to be a changing, challenging, process and journey. Or raising kids. Like, yeah, I'll think about all the stuff when I have it, and then I'll think about it. Although I'll argue that having a child is far stronger motivator if you love your kids, right? But
sure.
But nonetheless, once you've made that understanding and accept that, then you have to make a choice. And the choice is, and this is a choice, okay? It's not an easy choice, but it is a choice. I have to either choose to enjoy the process or not. Okay. And if I choose to not enjoy the process, I will necessarily, if I do somehow, which you won't if you hate it, but if you somehow stick to it, I will necessarily hate the entire process and hate my life.
Yeah.
So really the only answer is accept this is a forever thing, accept that it's going to change, because life changes. Because it's a forever thing, there is no like, oh, it's going to happen next week, or it's like I got the next 50 years, 60 years. And also, I have to figure out how to enjoy this. I have to choose to find value and meaning in this and to enjoy it. Now, I think it's important we define what I mean by enjoy. Years ago, when I first met my wife, she was really into hiking. She told me, I'm really into hiking. I love hiking. And I'm like, me too. I love hiking too. Let's, take me on some hikes. Now, my idea of hiking was very different from her idea of hiking. It's like when I say I like hiking, I like going on trails, that and kind of paved, type of hiking trails or whatever. She likes to hike, which I found out, as she took me on some, and it's like treacherous. It's like, oh crap, this is
bouldering and like scaling shit.
Yeah, and like, wading through, like these are like, I don't know how they classify them, but if it's like a 1 to 4, like these are like level 4 hikes, and there's warning signs. And I mean, we did the Kalalau Trail in Kauai, where the locals are like, don't do that, So while we're doing these trails, and I had just met her, fell in love with her. So when you fall in love with someone, you're a guy, you tend to do stuff you normally wouldn't do. So I'm on these trails with her, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this sucks. Like, this is hard. It's scary. I don't like walking on the side of a mountain and I could fall off in the end. And I don't like looking like I'm scared in front of this girl that I just fell for, because I don't want to look like obviously I'm a guy, so I have an ego, right? With that, in that sense. And she told me, and so as we're doing this, she goes, hey, this is hard. Like, what do you think? And I said, I'll be honest with you, this is not what I thought you meant when you said hiking. And she said, well, this is type 2 enjoyment. I said, what's that? And she goes, well, type 1 enjoyment is it's fun in the moment. Like, yay, we're having a great time. Type 2 is after. Like, you did it, you look back and go, man, I did that. That was really awesome. So, why am I telling this story? Because what I mean by enjoy the journey, I think sometimes people get confused, and they think that means that they're going to love every second of it. Oh my God, this is so fun. Waking up at 6 a.m. to work out, or wow, eating, saying no to the pizza and yes to the, fish and vegetables. Like, this is so fun. No, that's not what I mean by that. I mean, sometimes you will, by the way, sometimes you will enjoy in the moment, but you have to actually actively pursue enjoying the journey, because that's the only way you'll be able to do this forever. Now, there's pieces to that are really important. One of which is people have to fundamentally change how they view exercise and how they view, for lack of a better term, diet. And I mean diet in the sense of, like, I'm trying to eat in a way that's healthier, or in a way to lose weight or improve my performance or whatever. So I'm eating this particular way. They have to fundamentally change how they view those things, because if you view exercise as a punishment, then that's what it's going to feel like. So why would you view exercise as a punishment? Well, because you're doing it because you hate yourself, because you hate your body, because you hate your belly, because you hate your flabby arms, because you hate you're too skinny or too weak or too slow or too whatever. If diet is restrictive, if you view diet as this necessary evil where I have to, like, restrict myself from all this other stuff I want to do, okay, then that's what it's always going to feel like. It's always going to feel like it sucks. Now, you could do this a different way, right? I could work out, and rather than saying, I got to work out because my belly's fat and I don't look good, you could say, wow, my body definitely reflects the fact that I haven't taken care of it. Like, I really haven't, like, actively. So I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to go to the gym and take care of myself. That's very different. It's very different to go to the gym and think I'm doing this for me, to care for me, versus I'm doing this because I hate the way I look, for example. Same thing with diet. if you look at your food and you say, ugh, this is gross, but I don't deserve to eat the tasty stuff. I really want it, but I'm too fat, so this is what I'm going to eat. It's going to suck. If you look at your food and go, I want to take care of myself. Like I deserve to be healthy, and I deserve to be taken care of just like anybody else. It's a totally different mindset and understanding, and it leads to the type of enjoyment that I explained earlier. Now you create balance. Mm-hmm. People talk about balance all the time in our space. You got to have balance with your diet. You got to have balance with your exercise. Well, you can't create balance if you're exercising and dieting because you're hating your body. You can create it if you're doing it because you're actively caring for your body. Because let's say I wake up and I didn't have a good night of sleep. Like I really slept terribly. Well, caring for myself would be skipping the gym that day, right? But if I hated my body and I'm in that space of my belly's fat and I had a shitty night of sleep, I'm probably going to force myself to go to the gym and beat myself up a little bit. Or at some point, we get sick of hating ourselves. This is what ends up happening ultimately. And then we stop everything and we say to our friends and ourselves, I just want to enjoy my life. I'm done. I don't want to do this crap anymore. I just want to enjoy my life, right? Same thing with diet. If you're doing it because you're caring for yourself, let's say I go out with my friends and I haven't seen them in a few weeks, and we're telling stories and talking about our kids, and we're having a great time. They're like, hey, let's go get a burger at that place we used to go to. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do that, because I'm caring for myself right now by connecting with my buddies, and that's something we enjoyed, versus hating yourself and saying something like, no, I can't eat that. And then eventually rebelling when you get over it and say, I want to enjoy myself. And then you eat 4 burgers, right? So those are that's the root of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, everybody gets caught up in the how. What's the best way to exercise? What's the best diet? What's the best way to optimize my sleep, or how do I maximize my fat burning potential and stuff? And that's also important. But if you don't understand and work on what I just talked about, it doesn't matter. I don't care how great your approach is. It's not going to matter at all. And I'll say this too. If you do this, if you come at it from the root of which I just talked about, caring for yourself, accepting this is a forever thing, consciously learning, because this is a learning process, learning how to enjoy this process, enjoy this journey. If you do that, you will find the most effective way for you to exercise. You will find the most effective diet. Some people take longer than others. There's great resources out there that'll help you along this process. My podcast is one of those. But you will. If you do it for the right reasons, that means you're looking in the right places, and you will figure it out. And it's the other way, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen for you.
Mm-hmm. That was so well said. Thank you. That was so good. What's crazy is so much of what you just said boils so much down to like the intention, right? Like the difference between like beating yourself to shit because you hate everything about yourself versus like, you know what, I deserve better. This is the standard I want for my life, and I'm doing this because I care about myself. Just that reframe and that intention switch changes absolutely everything.
It does, but I don't want to make light of it like it's this simple.
Right.
It's a conscious daily effort every day, because you're going to want to hate yourself.
Yeah.
Why do we want to hate ourselves? Because you know yourself better than you know anybody else. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, your weaknesses, your thoughts, your vices, your intentions. So it's real easy to judge yourself as this bad person or this lazy person, or, blame, whatever. If I just looked better, if I could just do this thing, and why do I do this to my whatever? So it has to be a conscious effort on a daily basis. Now, it does get easier over time because it starts to become your default. But initially, you have to make a conscious effort because you're operating system is what it is right now. And your operating system is this kind of self-running program. And in order to change it, you have to consciously change it, consciously stop the process, consciously create new neural pathways. So they can show this now in studies, what happens to the brain, for example. Like physical structures actually change in the brain. And the more you practice a thought process or a practice or whatever, the more you do that, the more your brain wires itself to make that more of an automatic thing. And then eventually it becomes more of this operating system. But it is a conscious thing, and it's more important than the diet and the exercise. It's more important than counting your calories or making sure you're doing the perfect amount of reps or sets or the right, most effective form of cardio. This is why studies show that people who want to lose weight, who just go to therapy, have a higher success rate than people who go to nutritionists and sign up for workout classes. The therapist knows nothing about diet and exercise, doesn't even coach them on that. But what they're doing is they're working on kind of the root causes, and that allows them to make choices that stick at a higher rate than people who are hiring people who tell them exactly what to eat and what exercises to do. So it's not just important; it's the most important thing. And you talked about going deep. Like, there's no way to do this or to talk about this with integrity without going deep.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's not lose body fat, build muscle, we're done. It's not just look better, be more fit, we're done. It's not even close to the whole conversation. So and look, if somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, right, that sounds it's too esoteric. That's like, well, look, here's your evidence, okay? Look at the success rate, or should I say fail rate, of people who try to lose weight. Every year, tens of millions, if not probably 100 million people in America lose weight. Every single year. Every single year, 90% of them within a year gain it all back. Mm-hmm. Now, if I extend that out to 5 and 10 years, I bet you that number is north of 95%. So the odds of you failing within a year is 90%. What does that tell you? Well, what that tells you is it's a lot more than people think it is.
Yeah.
It's not this, it is deep. And that's exactly why it's challenging. And if you got to kind of understand that when you go into this, and another piece of that is every time somebody loses weight and gains it back, forget the physiological effects of that, because people will argue, it gets harder to lose the weight because your body adapts and your metabolism does this and your hormones change and then you get older. So of course it's harder to lose. Forget all that. There's some truth to that, but forget that for a second. Every time you try and fail, you are closer to never trying again.
So good.
Okay, so the whole like, I'll think about it when I get there. You only have a few failures in you. I'm just going to tell you, that's most people. Okay, so at some point you're just going to say, screw it, I give up. I'm not going to try this anymore because I've tried every other way and I've tried white knuckling it, and it just doesn't work for me. And this is why you're hearing this, this message that obesity is a disease, that we don't have control over it. That's why that message gains traction, because to somebody who's tried and lost and gained and lost and gained, or 3, 4, 5 times, it sounds very true. It's like, that makes sense because I've tried, man. I really tried and it just didn't work. You just were doing it. You were going about it the wrong way. And I apologize to those people, because no one, or very few people in the health and fitness space communicate this the right way. I don't think it's necessarily because of nefarious reasons, although that is also a part of it. There's definitely people that just want to sell you stuff. I think a big part of it is fitness fanatics they don't realize that they're communicating to non-fitness fanatics. So, I'm a fitness fanatic. Okay. I've been doing this since I was 14 for myself, right? I've been doing this professionally since I was 18. You can, the message that, get up and do it anyway, or, pain is weakness leaving the body, or beast mode, or, food is just fuel.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what it tastes like. That resonates with me because I can do that. Like, I kind of like that, right? But that is not at all an effective message to a non-fitness fanatic. It'd be like, you're into like some hobby that you're just ultra super passionate about, and you're trying to convince somebody who could care less about your hobby to become as passionate about your hobby. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You got to communicate it a little differently. So our space sucks at this. They're really good at convincing people of the latest diet and the newest workout. They're really good at capturing you in your temporary state of motivation, but they're terrible at figuring out how to talk to people in ways that help them figure this out for forever.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if this was recorded on your show or if it was a clip of you on a different show, but I think it was one of the clips that went viral all over the internet. It was the clip of when you said, the man who loves to walk will walk further than the man who loves the destination. Like, right. I swear there's like a month straight. Like every time I hopped on Instagram or TikTok, it was like all over the place. But I think that really ties in well to this. And I was wanting to bring that up because, all of the magic is in the process, because that's where you're going to spend all of the time and the habits that are going to keep this success going forever. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. And that's, that did go viral. I didn't invent that understanding. That's old wisdom. Humans have understood that is the key for as long as recorded religion and practices. This is echoed across the world. So, and I think it went viral because it resonates with people. So the key then is, how do I become the man who loves walking?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. How? So you got to ask yourself that. If somebody's watching this, how do I become the person who enjoys the process that leads to better health, better fitness, better wellness? How do I do that? That's what you need to ask yourself. And that may mean, it's definitely going to mean doing it for the right reasons, like I talked about earlier. It may also mean finding the forms of activity that seem to bring you the most joy, not necessarily the activity that's the most effective, right? That may mean understanding that for yourself, your quality of life, that getting a six-pack, why? That's not something for me. It's not something I really want, or I should say, it's not a lifestyle that I want. So I'm not even going to think about that, because what it takes to do that, it's like this. I'll use another analogy. It's like people look at like a billionaire entrepreneur. Okay. Like, oh wow, look at that billionaire. And I'd want to make $1 billion. No, you don't. You don't want to do what that person has done,
right,
to do that. Most people don't. The vast majority of it, they want the $1 billion, right? So It's like, you look at the perfect body. Oh, I want that perfect body. No, you don't. You don't want to live that lifestyle, which is, but I'm not like disparaging anybody. This is just, not only is it okay, but it's not okay to not understand that, because you're only going to harm yourself. You're only going to prevent yourself from improving the quality of your life. That's just the bottom line. So, again, these are the conversations that need to be had and the understandings. And because it's a forever thing, because it's I'm taking care of myself thing, the journey and the process starts off appropriately. and it continues appropriately. What does that mean? Well, I mean, if you're not doing anything now, exercise-wise, then something is appropriate. I don't care if it's one day a week, a 15-minute walk. Remember, the time span is forever. Not 30 days from now. Stop doing that. It's forever, right? So, okay, how can I do this forever? I want to learn how to enjoy the journey. Let me start with something that is, for me, realistic. I think, once a week of a 15-minute walk seems to be pretty realistic. Let me just do that. And then the next time I feel like I can add something, I will. And if you do that, the trajectory, if you follow two lines that seem to be parallel, but one is just 1 degree off, if you follow those lines, the further you look at those lines, the further away. I mean, from here, it looks like they're parallel, but, a 0.1 degree off.
Right.
Eventually, the distance, you go off infinite, the distance becomes infinite between the two lines. So that's how you end up making progress. That's how you end up keeping the progress. But again, this is the conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, I agree. That's such a good point. So I'm curious, from your perspective, for most people, should they let go of all outcomes? Because I feel like I see so many people in this dichotomy of okay, I get what you're saying, let go of outcomes, stop being in a hurry, and approach it this way, but then getting caught up in, I'm not losing weight fast enough, or, I'm not getting here. I think that's where half the problems come in, is we get too impatient. But where's that balance for you?
Yeah. So what helps a lot with that is being aware of all of the outcomes that are happening from these changes that you're making.
That's so good.
So, weight loss is one metric. And it's not a perfect metric. It is a metric, but it's not a perfect one, not even close. It's one piece of this huge picture. It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle. So weight loss is one piece, but so is I'm sleeping better.
Right.
Or, here's a big one. I wasn't walking consistently, 6 months ago. I've been doing it consistently for 6 months, and I kind of enjoy it. That's a result to pay attention to. My libido is better. My energy is better. I have less stiffness. I just feel better overall. Pay attention to everything, not just weight. Eventually, your body will reflect all the positive changes, but don't be so narrow as to only pay attention to one metric, because that one metric by itself, look, I'll tell you what, you could get a really bad flu and lose weight. Yeah. So if we're using weight as a metric, was that good? You could amputate your leg and you lose weight. Is that good? So my point with that is pay attention to the entire thing, and how you feel, and your consistency, and your attitudes toward yourself and towards this new process and this journey. And then you'll find that the outcomes are there. This whole process, something is happening each time. And then the ultimate, side effect is the weight loss and the body looking different and all that stuff. And it's very pleasant. It's a very pleasant surprise almost. It's like, wow, I was feeling better. I was enjoying exercise. And now I'm losing weight. This is when I did this right, this is when clients would come to me and say, I don't know, and it's almost like they were baffled by it. This is so strange. My body's just losing weight now. It doesn't feel, yeah. It feels like I'm not doing much, or it feels like way easier.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're doing a lot of stuff. It feels easier because of the way we're approaching it.
Yeah.
And how you view it. So, and that's where you want to be. So yeah, I wouldn't, in fact, depends on the client, but there were often times when I would tell a client, especially if they were body obsessed, I would have them not weigh themselves at all. I would say, ignore that one metrics and let's focus on everything else, because that's going to just spin you. It's going to mess up your mindset. So we're not going to weigh you for the next 60 days. And then we do this 60-day weigh-in, and then they'd always be shocked that they lost weight or, that they didn't gain weight. Like that was another one. Like, they're like, my clothes are looser. I'm feeling good. Oh my God. And I'm like, okay, don't weigh yourself. Don't weigh yourself. And then 2 months later, we'd weigh them and they'd be like, I only lost 2 pounds on the scale. I said, well, you built a lot of muscle. You lost some body fat. Now imagine had you been weighing yourself this whole time, you would have been focused on that and freaking out instead of the fact that you've lost size because you've obviously body fat is more voluminous per pound than muscle. You've realized how amazing you feel. You love this process. Let's keep going. Let's try this another 60 days. Let's weigh you 60 days from now. And they're like, okay.
Totally. That's amazing. It's funny. I think it's interesting. I see so many people, it's like they treat themselves and act like they're only body fat and muscles and nothing else. They're only body fat and muscles. The fact that they have a mindset, they have energy, they have happiness, they have an intellect, they're a spiritual being in a physical body. Like people forget that, and that it's just like, no, I'm just body fat and muscles. So that's all that matters.
That's because we have attached, we've attached exercise and diet to only how we look and maybe certain health markers, like extreme ones, like, heart disease and cancer and stuff like that. But we haven't really, I guess if you ask somebody, they'll be like, yeah, I guess so. But nobody really thinks of it this way. Like it affects your entire quality of life. I mean, there's no more effective antidepressant, for example, than improving your health, exercising and eating right. It provides meaning. It does provide some meaning to your life. It's not the ultimate meaning, but it does provide some meaning. It promotes personal growth because it's a weekly thing you do for the rest of your life as your body's changing, as you're aging, as your life changes. There's lots of acceptance that comes along with that. There's lots of learning how to fail and overcome. There's lots of accepting how bad you are at some exercises and then practicing and getting better. It's a lot. Like, look, if we had a magic pill, or let's say they invent a medication that you could take that gives you all the physical results. So you lose weight, build muscle, you look great. You're not going to reap nearly the benefits that you would get from exercising or the process, I should say, of learning how to exercise properly, do it forever, and how to treat yourself well with diet and do that forever. You're not going to get nearly the benefits. Even if all the physiological benefits are the same, you're not going to get the same benefits. It's really, the example I give on the show is you could climb Mount Everest or you could get dropped off at the top with a helicopter.
Yes, that's so good.
It's the same view. You're at the top. Everything, it's, oh my God, I'm at the top of Mount Everest. One of them changed you fundamentally. The other one, maybe not so much.
That's huge. I'm going to steal that. That is such a good analogy. And I think that's the biggest theme that this episode has come out to be, is where everything is in the process. But I feel like it's always the most resistant thing everyone's about. They want to be in it the least amount of time. Or the analogy I use a lot is you have to live in the house that you build. If you're building this thing under stress, chaos, no sustainability, restriction, deprivation, well now you got to live there. But like, what kind of house do you want to live in? And I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's also we also kind of misunderstand, or I guess don't fully get that it's going to be hard and it's going to suck anyway. So there's this false belief that if I exercise consistently, if I eat in a way to promote good health, that's going to be harder and suck more than not doing those things. False. If you compare the two, exercising consistently and eating in a way to be healthy is far easier than what happens when you don't.
Sure.
Okay? It's far easier. It's easier to live. It's easier to move. It's easier to have good relationships. It's easier to think. And that's not even mentioning the chronic diseases and illnesses and issues that you develop if you don't do those things. So you look at somebody who's 100 pounds overweight, imagine if they weren't But in order to not be, they had to exercise 4 days a week and eat really healthy. Which one of those is harder? Really, which one's harder? Okay. So there's this fundamental misunderstanding that we can avoid hard and challenging. No, you can't. It's coming. It's hard anyway. No escaping it.
Yep.
So this, on that level, is also the better decision anyway. It's a lot easier to exercise a few days a week and eat healthy than it is to be sick, unhealthy, or unwell.
Yeah. I mean, pay now or pay later, right? Like, but the one is on your time clock, on your dime, and on your control versus the alternative.
It's more than that. It's always pay now. Again, that's another misunderstanding. Like, well, eventually I'll get heart disease. Eventually I'll. No. Right now, it's harder. You don't realize it because you're not consciously choosing the harder route, or you think you're not. But exercise and diet changes how you think. It changes how you view the world. Right now, this is not my, I'm not giving anybody a breakthrough here. It's not like this is something I discovered. This is proven.
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to walk around feeling worse and having a more negative filter on the world? Do you want to have less inspirational ideas? Do you want to be able to innovate less? Do you want to have less patience, less empathy, less understanding? That's harder today, not later. It's not pay now, get the results later. That's also false. It's right now. Right now, if you're watching this, somebody's watching this, unless they had bad sleep and they really needed the sleep or whatever, had they done some form of activity this morning, their day would be a little better than had they not. So again, we're presenting ourselves with a false. The comparison is so false, it's not even funny. It's like, hey, here's two paths. This one is going to be a struggle, and it's going to be hard and treacherous, but eventually, you're going to get to this wonderful place. And this one over here, you're going to skate. It's going to be easy. It's going to be wonderful, but eventually you got to be careful because it's going to be a bad result. No. Both are hard. This one is way harder, way worse now. So pick now.
That's such a good point. That is so good. Sal, this has been such a joy. I really, really appreciate you doing this. I know we're coming up on time. This has been so good. So I really, really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
So what are you guys working on right now? So like, what are you guys working on that you're excited about, that you're looking forward to going on like right now?
Well, obviously we're always trying to improve the effectiveness of the show. So, obviously trying to reach a larger audience, but also how can we communicate, the same ideas in different ways so that we can continue to resonate with more and more people. The goal was, and it always has been, to shift the direction of the fitness industry to help with other coaches and trainers so that they can, because they're the ones that are really making a big difference when they train and work with people, help kind of teach them how to do this in a way to where they're more effective, to make this to continue to improve the show so that the fitness industry can really utilize its full potential, which the potential really is to solve a lot of our chronic health issues, both mentally and physically. So we're always working on that. We have a new program that we'll be releasing this month. This is the 10-year anniversary of the first MAPS program.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be exciting. We are focused a lot on our YouTube channel because we're trying to become a very visual show as well. We know we could reach a larger audience that way. So that's pretty much it for now.
I love that, man. That's incredible. And you guys have done such an amazing job with all of those things. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? If no one, if for some weird reason, no one knows you. So where can people find you? Where's the best place to go?
So Mind Pump is the podcast. You can find us on YouTube or any podcast platform. And then you can, if you want to find me personally, I'm on Twitter at Mind Pump Sal.
I love it. Awesome, brother, man. Well, I really, really appreciate you doing this. Thank you once again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
And we are back. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. I know if you stuck around and watched the whole thing, you got so many nuggets, so many amounts of gold from Sal. Like I said, they call him the wisest man in the fitness industry, and I think you can see why. On all different levels. Sal is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so fortunate and thankful that that he did the interview with me. So that this was pretty awesome. So definitely go check them out. Follow up on what he's doing. Send him a message. Tell him you heard about him on the show. Go subscribe to Mind Pump. Also subscribe to Dieting from the Inside Out here if you haven't already, because we're putting out episodes every week. We're putting our episodes also on YouTube. That way you can watch the interviews and not just listen to them. Especially if you like interviews like this, where you would like to see us actually go back and forth. So it's pretty great. We're doing a lot with the show right now, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it. Go also check out dietingfromtheinsideout.com, because we have everything about all the episodes categorized and all like right there where everything is at, because now we have not just the YouTube, plus now we have also, as we always have had the audio, but then now we also have all the podcasts transcribed very blog fashion. So if you would like to go recap the show, or if you'd like to getting snippets that you got out of it, or anything like that, or if you just blatantly would rather read than listen or watch, that's there as well. So be sure and check that out. Subscribe to the site, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to all my shit, damn it. But otherwise, I just appreciate you being here. Nonetheless, now I do have some stuff in the comment section or the description for you. So if you're just getting started, if you're not quite sure like where to go, what to do, you're like, this is all overwhelming, go through my free course. It will simplify everything. It will make it super digestible, super simple, super palatable for you. And it'll make you realize you don't have to be a crazy fitness psychopath to lose some weight and get to where you want to be. It's called the Fat Loss Checklist. So there's a link down in the description. Also, there's links to all my other socials if I'm not in your news feed, because we're doing a lot with clips and shorter form content. What else do I have down there? If you haven't already joined my free Facebook community, you'll want to join that as well. It's called Fat Loss Simplified, because you need a hub. You need a place to go to where you can get loved on, support, and get around like-minded people, because half of your problems will go away once you do that. And if you like this kind of deeper content, I put so much into that group, you'll want to join me there. Now, also, if you stuck around this long and you're like, well, I think I need some maybe more one-on-one attention, more individualized help, a higher level of accountability, all the shit Sal said, I just don't even know where to get started with it. Well, the cool thing is, because my podcast listeners have a special place in my heart, you can go apply for coaching at the link down below that you can quite literally get right onto my team's schedule to apply for coaching. That way we can see kind of what's going on with you, what your situation looks like, see if we're even the right fit on both sides. And then we could talk about potential options from there if you want. But the thing is, that link will get you basically to the front of the line when applying for coaching. And because you're coming from the podcast, if you get accepted into coaching, I'm giving you about $4,000 worth of extras totally for free, just because you came from the podcast. So if you're sitting there, you're tired of like Sal said, is every time you do this and gain your weight back, try it on your own and fail, you're making it harder to come back again. Like he said, we only have so many fails in our system, unfortunately. So if you're worried about that, or you're tired of doing this on your own, definitely apply for coaching, and let's get you on the other side of this. But that is it for today's episode. Stay tuned for the new, we do episodes every week. So next Monday and Tuesday, we drop episodes. Otherwise, I love you. I will talk to you soon.